So what if I was to tell you that free will is a myth when it comes to manifestation? What if I was to tell you it was just an illusion of this 3D reality, that we have free will? What does it mean? Could you really manifest the version of your specific person that you want? Can you really manifest that? Any version of them that you wish to experience? Do we really have control over other people? Is it true they don't have free will in our reality? And if so, how do we shift and change a person to fit our desires? How are we in control? Is it really as woo-woo as everyone is saying? Is it really just about I am God and I decide? Is there more to it here? Is it really truly that they're reflecting my thoughts, or whatever thoughts I have, they're reflecting it too? I'm going to tackle all of this stuff in this video and hopefully give you some clarity once and for all, because it's one of those really popular topics where it's always often stated your specific person has no free will in your reality. And it's wonderful to hear that. I touched upon it in my last video. It's wonderful for people to hear that who are manifesting a specific person for a relationship per se, but it is so misunderstood. And a lot of coaches will tell you about, yeah, there's no free will, you have control, you decide. They're correct. But no one ever really truly explains it, because it's easy enough to read up on this stuff, but it's only when you've truly lived it do you then understand it. And that's why I invite every one of you on this channel to not just be a hearer of all this stuff, but to go out and test what I am teaching you, because I'm teaching you from experience. We're going to cut the nonsense, we're going to cut through the woo-woo stuff. This is actually, in many cases, quite, yes, it's spiritual, but also quite psychologically sound. So for those of you who have maybe this logic mindset and you feel like that's what's hindering you, that's what's getting in the way, then this video is also going to be quite beneficial for you too, because I'm all about the psychology of things as well, right? So we're going to get this all cleared up. Stay with me in this video, and I promise you, you're going to understand it. It's going to open your eyes, and it's probably going to shock you as well as to how simple this is, how you've been doing this all along, and how easy it is to shift and change your specific person, or anyone for that matter. Well, first up, I'm Athena Raven. Thank you for joining me. I'm a mental health and manifestation life coach. Like I said, I do incorporate the psychological element into manifestation, because it's about working in harmony with your mind at the end of the day, not against it. And if you are serious about learning about the law, if you're ready to let go of all the stuff that is promising you this clickbait, get it in a day, do this magic technique, if you're willing to just let go of all of that stuff, be open to realizing your dreams and desires, then this channel is for you. Join our thriving, successful community of powerful manifestors by subscribing. I promise you will not be disappointed, and you're going to see your world change. And it really does change all the time, doesn't it? And that's why it's called a hologram, an illusion, because it is consistently changing. There is nothing in your world that remains the same, and that's because we are consistently changing. I mean, for the most part, some people will think, well, my life has been pretty much stagnant the whole time. It's been the same, get up, go to work, and that's because we have these routines imposed upon us that keep us trapped, that keep us stuck in the same mindset. We're being fed the same things off media, off the news, usually negativity. And so our world doesn't change hugely all that much on a day-to-day basis, but everything around you, people, settings, it's always changing, right? It doesn't remain the same. Now, yes, consciousness, right? We all share the same consciousness. The problem is when people are manifesting a specific person, we fall into the belief that we are separated. Remember, separation is also an illusion of reality, just like time, space. When you go into imagination, all of that is collapsed. It's no longer in existence. Everything is just happening now. And it's the same with this world. But the way that we process things, yeah, it seems like there's separation. It seems like there's distance. It seems like there's time. Now, it's important for us to realize that there is oneness in this. We all look different, we're different shapes, sizes, cultures, colors, right? But we all share the same consciousness, the same awareness. So there is no separation. We are all from the one source, all one in the same. Now, we have free will to a point, right? Consciousness is infinite, has no limitations, but consciousness has chosen to come down and have a human experience for whatever reason. And so there's one planet, one world, but there's 8 billion, 9 billion, how many people are there on this planet? I've lost count. Billions and billions of people in this planet, so billions and billions of different worlds in existence right now. Now, I can only ever experience life through the consciousness, through the awareness of Athena, through my perception, okay? Even when I'm stepping into someone else's shoes, I'm also going to be looking at life as Athena, but through their perception, my perception of their perception. So it's always going to be through my eyes, and that's why there is no one and nothing to change but self. Because if I want to see a change in someone or see a change in my outside reality, then it makes sense that if I'm the cause of it all and this is merely the effect, what I'm seeing outside, then go to the cause all the time and change myself, change how I perceive things or choose to perceive things, because it is a choice at the end of the day. How I choose to perceive things, my whole world will be different. People are no longer, like, people are not even exempt from this. People are not exempt from this, because we do think, oh, but they have their own free will. They listen to me, okay? This is a little pep talk. People in your reality have no free will. I don't mean that in a dominant sense or in a dark manipulation sense or a whatever it is, like negative sense. They have no free will, and I'm going to explain why. And I don't think it's ever been explained like this in a video, or at least I haven't seen it being explained like this. I'm going to demonstrate for you how this is, and you're going to probably be surprised at how much this actually makes quite logical sense as well. But they have no free will in your reality, and you only have the free will in the sense that you get to choose what reality you wish to experience. You get to choose your desires that you wish to fulfill. You get to choose the assumptions and the labels and the concepts of self that you wish to have, right, for yourself. You get to choose all of that. And then after that, no free will. Your free will is cut off, because now you are occupying the state, and all of your thoughts and actions and emotions and reactions and all the rest of it is controlled by the state, okay? By the state of being. It's no longer under your control. If you don't like how you're thinking, how you're acting, how you're behaving, take away what everyone seems to be doing, what a lot of coaches are telling you to do, which is flip your thoughts and affirm over your thoughts and change your thoughts. That's kind of a hard way to do it. It can be done, but it takes a lot of effort. That's why you've got to do tens of thousands of affirmations to change. But if you go to your core and change the cause rather than treating the symptom, then everything changes automatically. That's why in order to lose weight, I changed my mindset, because fighting with my 3D, trying to starve myself, taking diet pills, going on more walks, whatever it is that I was doing at the time, literally going vegan, going vegetarian, going carnivore, I tried everything. Inconsistent results, so much resistance. Why? Because my mindset hadn't changed. So you know this, you've been watching my stuff for a while, you know this, it's about changing mindset. And changing mindset can happen in numerous ways. I can get people to change their mindset like I do with my clients through cognitive behavioral therapy, through hypnosis. Very simple. Even if it's a belief that you've had for many, many years, you guys know, those of you who have worked with me, you can change it within minutes, right? Those of you who don't have access perhaps to modalities of therapy, do not worry, there's loads of other ways to do it, right? Particularly one of the most successful, effective ways, imagination. Especially if you're going into it in the mindset that imagination is what creates. My imagination is where everything stems from. So how about I just dare to imagine something bigger than what I'm experiencing now? I.e. my SP is not treating me right, is not coming forward, is not contacting me. How about I just dare to assume that they are treating me right, they are turning up for me in every way that is possible. Now, I know a lot of people were having a bit of anxiety, my last collaboration with Joseph, because maybe it was misunderstood in the way that it was phrased, that he had talked about how much simpler he found it to manifest a perfect person rather than manifesting a specific person. That's not to say that you can't have your specific person. You all know that, because Joseph and myself have manifested numerous specific people in our lives. Yes, you can. And also, you can have a conformed version of your specific person. Yes, you can. You can have the perfect version of them turn up for you, right? But what he was saying as well, and what I say, is that sometimes it is quite difficult when you have a history with someone to brush over the old story. Sometimes it's quite difficult to change some of those assumptions. There were certain things about my first SP, for example, that I just could not see. I could not see him being into spirituality, for example. I could not see him being and doing certain things just based on what I already knew of him. Okay, so I had these prejudgments that, I don't know, it was one of my first manifestations, and I didn't go into depth with every single little thing. But I did see him off drugs. I did see him having a job and keeping it, which he never did in the past. I did see him driving legally, again, something he never did in the past. So I got to see and experience all that version of him that never existed in my world before, which just goes to show that everything is in existence now. I just wasn't revealing the ideal version to me. But the only reason why I didn't get the perfect version of my ex, for example, was because of me, was because I didn't shift enough. Say, I didn't see other things, because we're human at the end of the day as well. I'm not going to think of every single little thing that I wanted to change about him. I mean, really, the stuff about love is that love is unconditional, and I loved the differences. But of course, he wasn't going to be the person that I would marry, because there were some differences that were important to me, like spirituality, or like the law, for example, manifestation. It's my life, and now it's my work as well. So that was truly important. So don't be put off by that. You can have your specific person. You can have a completely conformed specific person. To the degree and the level that they conform is based up to you. That's not me putting the emphasis and the blame and all the rest of it onto you guys. No, it is based on, can you see them fulfilling that role? That's what it's all about, because that version of them is already in existence now, because they have no free will. Let me demonstrate. If you're still with me on this, let me demonstrate. This can be a bit ridiculous as well, so bear with me. I'm going to see if I can, there we go. Don't laugh. But this is what's going on, okay? This is how you shift and change your specific person. This is your specific person. I know. What a nutter. What is she doing? She's holding up a stone and she's saying this is her specific person. She's literally gone delulu, right? But bear with me, okay? Just stay with me on this, because like I say, no other coach has really explained this in as much detail, because it's misunderstood. You can read about it, you can know they have no free will, but very few people actually understand why that is, because you've got to put it into practice, guys. So look, you're going to see what I'm talking about, and it's going to make sense. Here's a specific person. It could be anyone. Could be a family member, could be a friend, could be your lover, okay, that you're trying to manifest. Now, I am standing here, right? And I'm fixed here. And the positioning of me represents my assumptions about myself, my place in life when I'm in, say, for example, a relationship, if this is my to-be lover, okay? So this is where I stand in relation to this person, okay? I have these beliefs that they don't like me because all the guys that I like don't like me back. They're out of my league. I'm not good enough. I'm not chosen by them, okay? So these are the beliefs that I have about myself, the version of me who is in a relationship, and the version of me who comes across someone I like, the version of me in relation to this specific person. Right, that's very important too, because you'll have a lot of coaches telling you, oh yeah, whatever you think about yourself, they're going to think of you. If you love yourself, they're going to love you. That's BS, and I've already explained why that is the case. And those of you, again, who have put this law to practice will know, just because you have great self-worth and confidence in yourself doesn't mean that your SP is going to give a rat's bottom, unless you also believe that of them in particular. Because I've had people with great self-esteem, they know their self-worth, they know they're a brilliant person, but their specific person is not giving them the time of day. Why is that, right? Be careful what you're listening to out there, okay? So this is important. So now I'm standing here with these, you can call them limiting beliefs, my assumptions, my beliefs, okay, about myself in relationships, in relation to this specific person. So what that means is, I am only seeing this portion of them. Remember, everything is in existence now. Creation is finished. And what I mean by that is that, remember what I said earlier in the video, that there are billions of different perceptions. We're all in the same world. We're living in concept, but there's like a billion different worlds going on. So there's a world where, you know, this specific person is turning up for me. There's a world where they're really loyal, they're in a relationship. There's a world where, right, is it that there's millions of different people, or is it just that there's one person, right, but I am revealing a certain side to them? So the side that I am revealing is based on my assumptions. So I'm only seeing this angle, and at the moment this angle is not great. This angle is showing me no contact. It's showing me they're not interested in me. Is showing me I'm not being chosen, I'm not being respected. You know, the typical things that we're getting shown from our specific person that we don't like. Now, the thing that everyone sort of gets wrong, the reason why so many people have resistance is because the way that many of you have been taught, or at least many of you have interpreted the law, is that I have to do techniques to change them. I'm going to do the whisper method to change them, to make them love me, to make them, and that is again a lot of resistance. That's why when I was on my weight loss journey, me trying to push the 3D, a lot of resistance, inconsistent results. Some of you who are getting hot and cold behavior, that tends to be the reason why. Too much focus on this person trying to change this. This is outside, this is already manifest. There is nothing to be changed. An effect is done with. Go to the cause, leave the effect alone. Always the cause, and the cause is self. So if I don't like the angle that I'm seeing this, everything else is in existence now, right? Here's the side of them that I wish to see. Here's the side, there's another side to them. Here's another, there's so many sides to this. There's a full picture. But me as a human being has a very limited capacity. I can only tune in to one radio station at a time. That doesn't mean that all the other radio stations and frequencies cease to exist. They cease to exist in my world. They're in existence, but they're not revealed to me right now. Does that make sense? So it's the same with this. All the versions of your SP, as you look at your SP, all the versions are there now, but they're not being revealed to you right now. Okay, so in order for me to reveal it, I have to change myself. Like I say, I use modalities of therapy to change my beliefs and assumptions, or step into an imaginal act is the most popular way for you guys to do it. Step into an imaginal act and reveal the version of you that you wish to see. Reveal the version of them that is the version of them that you wish to see, the version of them that is ideal, that is treating you a certain way, the version of them that is in a relationship with you, right? Now in doing that, I change myself, I impress myself. And that means that I sort of move a bit. And I'm revealing a different side of my specific person, the side that was always there. Because remember, law of polarity, everything is in existence now, right? The good and the bad, it's all heads and tails, like a coin. You got heads and tails, it's all part of the same coin. Both sides are in existence, but which side am I facing right now? So now, this is the new side that I'm facing based on my assumptions, my new assumptions that state that in relation to this person, I am chosen, I am loved, I am committed to. And this is the side that I reveal. Now, what happens in 3D reality is I might see this perhaps less than desirable side for a while. I shift my state, but like I said before, you know, we are living in concert as well. There are the laws of nature to abide by. I'm not just going to suddenly fall asleep and wake up in a mansion married to my specific person. What a chaos that would be for my life. What a chaos that would be for their life too. So sometimes what you will notice is that the shift in their persona, it can be instant, it can be instant, and usually because you've changed your perception, it is instant. You will notice subtle changes, but maybe for the bigger changes, it's more of a gradual shift. So it's like, see this, and it's kind of gradually rotating. Now, a lot of us during this time of our 3D circumstances and people in it, usually we're too busy judging. I'm looking, I'm like, wait a minute, this hasn't changed. But the moment that I do that, I have shifted back to my old angle, and I've just continued to look at my SP a certain way. Now, this poor SP is already everything right now. They've got no choice. You see why they have no free will. I'm the one who chooses my reality. I'm the one who chooses what concepts of self to adopt. I'm not controlling them in any way. That's why there's no morality issue. I'm not influencing them in any negative way per se. I'm just revealing a side. Yes, we are all moved to help each other's manifestations, and if your manifestation needs one person or 100 people to be moved, then they will. But it still feels like they still feel free. They feel like those are natural thoughts, natural movements, right? So to them, they're sort of shifting in relation to you. To them, it feels very natural because they're starting to think more about you, because they're starting to dream about you, because they're starting to, I don't know, bump into people who remind them of you, and this builds up. But because a lot of this stuff is going on behind the scenes, we then quickly come out of the good state back into this state, and I'm back looking at them the same way again, and I'm not revealing anything anymore, you know. So that, does that make sense? So I had to use a stone to represent this. But you see, this is why. Another way to demonstrate it, okay? Now, think of it this way. All of you have been in this situation as well, right? You know a person, say it's someone in your friendship group maybe. All of you have had mutual friends with other people, and perhaps one of your friends said to you, oh my God, you know, Jessica, I apologize to any Jessicas out there, not representing you, but Jessica really let me down and everything because she's such a manipulative person. Have you noticed? She's a bit narcissistic and she's just like, yeah, she kind of lied and she did this. And you might be like, no, I didn't notice that. I know that she's got some insecurities about herself, but she's actually very sweet and very loving and always reliable in that. What's happening here? You see, it's the one person, there's one Jessica, but there's two different perceptions, two different worlds, my world and my friend's world. And my friend is viewing Jessica a certain way. And I'm using this as a real life example, like in my friendship group. This kind of thing happens all the time. But my friend was experiencing a very different version of Jessica based on his beliefs about women, or based on his beliefs about girls called Jessica, or things that he'd heard that he had interpreted a certain way, things that happened in his past, because we fill in the gaps with imagination. And that's why I can, when I work with some of my clients, what happens is they'll tell me a situation that happened with SP. Perhaps it was about how the breakup was. The breakup to them was a very awful thing. It was almost like a traumatic event. And then when I listen to it, I'm like, hang on, you do realize, like I had this actually with one client. She had said about how communication was dwindling a bit with her SP, and she was just freaking out about it. And then what she did was, and she realized she did it out of fear, but she thought she was also standing up for herself as well. She basically said, you know what, this lack of communication, this is not doing good, I'm going to step away from this. And she ended the relationship, and she felt really traumatized by it because she felt she was pushed into making a decision she didn't want to make, and she was being disregarded by him. He just dismissed me, he abandoned me because he wasn't contacting me. Now, the way that I saw it, based on my own experiences, was that he's working, life is life, and sometimes life gets in the way. But when we get busy in life and we forget to respond to someone immediately, does one literally mean the other? Does that mean that I'm not interested? I don't want to talk to this person? Because he did respond to you eventually. And he did say that it wasn't just like that with you. It was just a very busy time this week, was very busy at work. And he was also a little bit sporadic in his communication with his friends. But he was also still making time to communicate with you as and when he could. And on top of that, you had a date lined up with him. So in his mind, he already had this idea that you guys are meeting up anyway on the weekend. And so perhaps didn't think a bigger deal. But because from her perception, from her world, the experience she gifted herself, because of her beliefs of, being abandoned, men not being reliable, all men do this to me, they all break it off, they come in interested, then they become disinterested. Well, he had no choice. He had no choice but to play the part. Work suddenly got busy for him. He's probably thinking, I don't know what's going on. He's getting a little bit more forgetful. He's not responding to messages as he would. But in his world, he's thinking everything is okay because perhaps he's feeling more solid about relationships. But in her world, everything has really fallen apart. And when I sort of projected that to her, she then started to reveal to herself more and more reasons why, oh my God, actually I was in control here. Oh my God, he did say that he was looking forward to meeting up, but what did I do, sort of thing. But she was blind to it at the time. She had no control. She had no free will. Her free will was gone because the state that she was occupying was that of not being chosen, being abandoned. This is what all men do to me, right? So this is why a lot of us get into relationships, everything is great, and it might still continue to be great, but then what happens is we have all these new assumptions come in, because the version of me who's in a relationship is a very different person to the version of me who is being courted, say in the beginning, flirting, I'm not too sure, I feel more confident, I'm not worried about being abandoned. But as soon as I fall in love with them, suddenly now I'm abandoned. Well, your poor specific person, they could be turning up as Prince Charming or a princess or anything, treating you like an absolute god or goddess, right? But you're not going to see it. You're going to sort of like mask that because it's not important. Because remember, as a human being, I'm very limited. I can only experience a small portion of reality at a time. This is why we can't serve two masters. I have to be steadfast in my state and my new perceptions as a result of that state. So if I'm changing my perception and I stick to it, they're going to change. And that's what happens in relationships for a lot of us. We change our perception suddenly because we're in love. So suddenly we're feeling insecure. Change our perception of our SP. SP hasn't really changed all that much, but now suddenly, all right, they're a little bit sporadic in their communication. Oh my goodness, that means that they're cheating. Oh my goodness, that means that they're not interested in me anymore. It doesn't mean any of those things, but I'm the one attaching the meaning. So do you see why there is no one and nothing to change but self? Do you see why we change ourselves and focus is on self? Because it's about your perception, how you view yourself in relation to the world and in relation to those specific people. Do you see how it's not about mind control, mind games, any sort of dark manipulation? You're the one who changes yourself, because it's only self to change. The world mirrors you always. That's just the law. So if it means they have to leave a third party to be with you, then that's what happens, because the third party is also playing a part based on you. You gave them that role as well. They didn't have any free will to be in this. They were forced to date your SP or marry your SP because of your beliefs as well about not being chosen, for example, or I always find men or women who are in relationships, I'm never the priority. Then this always has to be gifted to you. This experience is always gifted back to you. That's why there is no free will. That's why your free will is very limited. Choose your state, and that's it. You have no free will. So it's not some sort of weird godliness, magic, egotistical thing in any way, because I notice there's a lot of ego being pushed around, and that's what it can sound like. When these motivational speakers get you into a good place, it is great to be like that, but please do not forget how this works. It's not about me being egotistical, loving myself, I'm God, I decide what they do. I'm not deciding anything about them, I'm deciding about myself in relation to them. That's the big difference here. That's what a lot of people get wrong. That's why there's a lot of inconsistencies, and this is probably why it doesn't get explained much in the community in as much depth, because it's not truly understood. So now with this knowledge, I challenge you guys to go out there and test it on some family members, some friends. See if you can change your perception about them. If they're saying something that is perhaps critical, or you view, say, your mother or your brother or your sister as critical, judgmental people, how about we change that label? How about we assume that, well, you know what, if they're critical, the other side that is compassionate, that is loving, that is really supportive, is also in existence now. So I'm going to continuously see that and perceive what they're telling me, albeit it might still be critical, but I'm going to maybe revise it and just perceive it a certain way until that is revealed. And you'll be surprised, some of you are going to see those changes immediately. That's what I do with a lot of friends and family members, just for fun, because I can. So I really hope that this was helpful, guys. It was really fun to make this video. I'm standing out here. It's a bit different. I don't know, the sun, the lighting, and that is going a little bit off. That's the problem when you're relying on natural light. But join me out in nature and try and have fun with this, because that's what this is all about. I think we're losing sight of it a little bit. And if you want to, if you haven't already, join us on our Discord, because we've been continuing the conversations there. Everyone's really supportive, really helpful. They can share their success stories there. You'll be sharing your own. I'm setting these sorts of challenges for you guys as well to help you on your journey. You are not alone in this, okay? Let me take this. And I'm sending you all the love in the world. See you guys in the next video.